We're joined by General Olusegun Ajana, now security consultant. Morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, many, as we've seen there will always be divergent views about all these activities, the rescue of these girls, operational factors and activities of the military. But about this rescue, what do you think of it?
The rescue operation is an offshoot of an operational program that was put in place, I think, shortly after the postponement of the last general election. If you remember, the government asked for another 6 weeks to be able to put the country in fairly good shape, security-wise, so that no part of the country is enfranchised in the general election. And I think, as luck will have it, even though so many Nigerians doubted the ability of the government to accomplish this very particular program, but of course, it is the government and the individuals involved that were in charge. They were also the ones who knew the actual situation in the operational areas, and of course, by the time was fixed and was given as 6 weeks, it elicited a lot of doubts from Nigerians. I believe that that program was put in place and was launched at that time, probably even before the government spoke. And I believe it is that operation that has led to the release of or the freedom that we now saw in the paper earlier this week. 295 people rescued. I'm not too sure that the military guys that were in charge of that operation actually aimed at freeing the individuals, but it's an offshoot of.
They couldn't have had intelligence that that might be the outcome of that operation?
Of course, intelligence might have indicated it. And probably it could be one of the things that encouraged the troops to probably concentrate in that direction. What I've said here on previous occasions is that the type of problem we have in Nigeria, the insurgency we have in Nigeria, is multidimensional. It is not possible to say it is the normal, regular military tactics that would defeat the insurgents. You couldn't even make up your mind totally that you are going to combat guerrilla warfare. It's a mix of so many problems that were there.
For the Nigerian government, it would seem that this has been about reclaiming territory, because you do remember that, many successes were recorded just before the elections, and the military did say then that it wasn't over, and they kept at it, reclaiming all the territories that seemed to be in the control of the Boko Haram insurgents, Sambisa being the last one. But you heard some of the residents of Borno State and their opinion on the discovery or the rescue of the 200 girls and 93 women, and you have to ask, why do you think that any individual will be doubtful of the rescue that was performed, that was done 2 days ago?
They are the ones there. They are the ones who have been feeling the brunt of this insurgency. And of course, the counter-insurgency by the government. They are anxious also to see the end of the fear and the anxiety they've been subjected to for years now. So I can understand their standpoint. I can understand why they feel the way they feel. But that still does not remove from the fact that the military officers in charge have identified an area where they needed to do combat, and they're doing it. Okay. And I believe that with time, some of the fears that they are expressing will certainly be overcome.
Well, we've got Mr. Max Banite joining us via phone from Abuja today. He's a strategic security consultant. Morning, Mr. Gbanite. Do you get a sense that there will always be Thomases, many of them as a matter of fact, until maybe when they get to hear that the abducted Chibok girls have been rescued? This current rescue of 200 girls and 93 women notwithstanding.
Well, with all due respect to General Ajana, I think what is missing in this operation is
all right, we don't seem to have
citizen mobilization.
Yeah, I've lost that connection. But
and by that,
well,
what am I trying to suggest?
We'll get back to
The
Mr.
defense
Gbanite.
headquarters,
He's live
when
now.
you
Okay,
finish
yeah,
an operation, pose it to the general public, a video clip of the post-operation work, what you have done, the successes. If there are captured insurgents, Nigerians are eager to see them live. If there are dead bodies, Nigerians also want to see. And 3 days after announcing the capture of 200 girls and again with 93 women, I think the embedded journalists within this operation should have released tapes to channels, televisions, to other media agencies for Nigerians to see, because perception management is important. You can't say that you have rescued 200 girls. They are under interrogation to determine what areas of the country they all come from, without involving the media and without involving Nigerians observing who have been eager. But having said that, I also want to give kudos to the military, because I have always believed in our military. When they said they needed a 6 weeks extension, the naysayers argued that what are they going to do in 6 weeks that they didn't do in 6 years? Well, in the words of Chamberlain, here we go.
Well, the other issue that we have to look at here is, well, I'll also bring that before the general. It has to do with, well, intelligence. How many people are we truly looking out for at the moment? Because first it was about the Chibok girls, even though we know of stories of some other missing females. But this particular one, we didn't see it coming. So who are we looking for as a country around that Nigeria's northeast region?
Well, it is difficult to put this question in perspective in terms of what you're looking for as a country. We had it wrong at the initial, except if there is a reformed jointness within the intelligence community, where the National Intelligence Agency that operates outside the borders of Nigeria, their desk officers in Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, and are very operational, and are able to say, these are what we saw in movement. And then the Defense Intelligence Agency and the DSS, including Director of Military Intelligence and their naval and air force counterparts, have to be able to say, well, these are the number of people that have been missing. But nobody has that actual statistics, because as of now, the nation have not even told us the number of rescued people, because it appears that after every mop-up operation, there is this information from DHQ that certain number of people have been rescued. Nobody has told us how many number of the insurgents have been captured. Nobody has told us. And if you capture someone alive and then kill him, that's extrajudicial killing, and that's not acceptable in the modern Nigerian military that we have today. Therefore, we have to begin to look at establishment of the radicalization of those captured. So, in the absence of all these things, creates a mystery and also some doubt in the minds of the general public if actually what we are being told is actually the fact. Therefore, the defense headquarters need to up the ante in terms of dissemination of information and not just flag up information on the air. and expect us to believe it. Therefore, Suleiman, it is difficult to juxtapose what our expectations are in terms of this intelligence. But permit me at this juncture to add that my greatest disappointment will be the involvement of the international community, especially the Western nations that had satellite intelligence and ability. And they were unable to share what they saw from the sky. And going back to the 50s, the 60s, 1960s, this is the same nations that could read license plates on the streets of the communist nations. And then when it comes to Nigeria, they let us down. And that is something that is quite worrisome, because they have the geospatial capability to know the activities of the vastness of Sambisa forest that cascades from Nigeria through Cameroon and even towards Central African Republic, because that was part of the old route to the pilgrimage going to Saudi Arabia in those days. That trail takes you all the way to Sudan. So these things, we were not prepared for it, but I'm quite sure the incoming administration will put it into consideration on how to be better prepared and how to be better be proactive in pursuit of the integrity of this nation, to make sure that we are not taken unawares again.